Right. As we're still on the subject of TV shows that have started out a new season, even though I haven't finished speaking about the previous one, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. Well, obviously this was a season where a lot of stuff happened that was connected to the Marvel movies, but also plenty of plots and intrigues that were affecting Coulson's S.H.I.E.L.D. team. So, yeah, let's get this one over with, shall we? So let's pick up where I left off, where S.H.I.E.L.D. had manifested her inhuman powers, not mutant powers. First of all, Daisy Johnson or Quake is an inhuman and not a mutant. And secondly, mutants are not usable in the MCU since X-Men still belongs to 20th Century Fox, and unfortunately also Fantastic Four, but that's a whole nother. Some other members of the team have gotten very worried. Well, Gemma Simmons was quite ready to go all kill it with fire, while Fitz, however, was kind enough to, cover it all up for her, pretending that everything was a-okay in the sense that she didn't have any powers, but that was a secret they didn't manage to keep for that very long. Once it became clear as day that S.H.I.E.L.D. had these superhuman abilities, people were sort of reacting the same way as the military gets around Bruce Banner. Ironically, I do believe that S.H.I.E.L.D. was sent to a safe house where they had kept Bruce Banner at some point, as it turned out that there was a huge fist imprint in one of the walls, which isn't that hard to speculate that it was the Hulk. Besides that, it turned out that S.H.I.E.L.D., the organization that Coulson had become director of, wasn't really S.H.I.E.L.D., but the real S.H.I.E.L.D. were working elsewhere. So while the real S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing their biz, Coulson have sort of been there with his team, making them look like a bunch of silly goofballs, just dancing around in a playground, thinking they're doing some real spy work. We found out that when S.H.I.E.L.D. fell during the events of Captain America the Winter Soldier, Mockingbird and also Lucy Lawless's character, who makes up for her early death in this season by having this flashback. Still no cyborg Lucy Lawless. So disappointing. Edward James Olmos, who I mostly recognize as Doomsday from Dexter season 6, I think it was. Yeah, anyway. Oh, and Blade Runner. So he is this the real director of S.H.I.E.L.D. or somebody in this board of S.H.I.E.L.D. where they have decided that rather than one person making all the calls, sort of like how Nick Fury did it, they are all making decisions together, like a democracy, and that might actually make things better, but Coulson, surprisingly enough, argues that that is a bad way of handling their business, since it's just gonna be a whole lot of disagreements, a whole lot of insecurity and indecisiveness. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense, even though that's a little odd. That that S.H.I.E.L.D. almost should be a dictatorship as long as the dictator is a good dictator, for lack of better terms. But yeah, the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we are following are sort of at the opposite end of last season, when Hydra was revealed to be a big part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And now they are the fake S.H.I.E.L.D. They are sort of the enemies, again in lack of better terms. They are also the enemies of, well, Cal, S.H.I.E.L.D'S real dad, who is of course Mr. Hyde in the Marvel comic books. And well, we also get introduced to S.H.I.E.L.D'S mother, who we all thought had become a pile of leftovers after what some Hydra agent, whose name escapes me at the moment, had done terrible things to her because due to her being an inhuman. Turns out that she has this secret location where she's keeping other powered people safe, including Reina, you know, the one with the flowery dress, who now has become a female hedgehog with psychic powers. Hardly surprising, Skye doesn't get along with her very much when they meet at this place. God, I'm certainly very bad with names at the moment, but yeah. Interestingly enough, the definitions of who are good and bad shift immensely during this season. I mean, first we experienced Mr. Hyde as the really bad guy, but it turns out that he just wants to be with his daughter Daisy and sort of make up for not being there for her when she grew up. Try to, you know, have this good father-daughter relationship. Yeah, Skye still kind of wants to give her a chance because he is a really sweet and caring father when he's not being aggressive and violent and psychotic. Yeah, you can't choose your parents. That is a truth that is very harsh for a lot of people. Cal turns out to have a lot more good sides to him than you'd think. And of course, Skye's mom, Jae-jin, God, I hope I'm not getting that wrong, is actually a lot worse than Cal, because she is so bitter about what's been done to her that she pretty much plans something Magneto-like to happen on the world, on all non-powered beings. Before all of that, we had Cal sort of rounding up his own Brotherhood of Evil, including this woman with sharp nails, played by Drea Matei, who was Adriana on The Sopranos. So I kind of enjoyed the irony of the fact that she played this character with really creepy fingernails on The Sopranos, and now she plays another character with creepy nails who actually uses them for really terrible stuff. And they all go to Coulson's old hometown to kind of stir up a lot of trouble there. And Skye being the one who tries to take them down with her quakey powers. It's been a lot about loyalty and where it is exactly. Mockingbird or Bobby Morse was a little more loyal to the real S.H.I.E.L.D., whereas Agent May, once Coulson took a hike, was very loyal to him still, just stamping up the conflict even more. Come to think of it, I think they handled it a lot better than Arrow did in season 3 when it comes to people arguing and not getting along, at least by a margin. And it all culminates to, well, Olmos's character trying to make peace with Jae-jin, and instead she uses this obelisk material to turn him into stone in a very gruesome scene, and her acting like he is the one who started it, so they have an excuse for having this war on normal people. Yeesh. And Ward, can't forget about Ward, who has been on the run with Agent 33, May's doppelganger, for a very long time because of that mask thingy. It was very unclear to me whether the Ward really had feelings for Agent 33 or if he was just messing with her head, sort of like Joker has done with Harley Quinn. Besides trying to stay away from anybody, they have sort of been playing a lot of different people until they finally kidnapped Mockingbird and did some truly horrific torture to her. And Adrienne Palicki deserves all credit she can get for how she handled those torture scenes, the stuff they did to her fingernails. That kind of stuff grosses me out so much, but what really sold those scenes to me was how she handled it. She really made it feel like she was working through the pain. So yeah, I had been obsessing a lot about her looks, and I feel really guilty about it, especially since I think she's an incredibly good actress, and I really hope that that spin-off with Bobby and Hunter really takes off. Marvel's Most Wanted, I think it was called, not to be confused with Muppets Most Wanted. That scene in the season finale when Ward accidentally shoots 33 because she's disguised as May. Oh man, that was... Because I wasn't really sure if he just pretended to like her, but when he realizes what he's done and she's about to die, and he's like, "Baby, look at me. Baby, look at me. Look at me, baby. Baby, look at me." That was heartbreaking. I mean, he's done a lot of horrible things, like, killing his own family, almost blowing himself up on a Greyhound bus and such, but seeing him lose this woman they clearly had feelings for, was in love with. Wow. I love when shows or anything with you actually feel sorry for bad guys. Same with Mr. Hyde. As, he really wanted to get his family back together, but part of his family, just namely his wife, just didn't want the same thing. And also, when Mr. Hyde reaches his ultimate Hyde form, yeah, I wasn't really too crazy about the way he looked then. I don't know if you have seen this Looney Tunes cartoon where Tweety Bird drinks some of Dr. Jekyll's Mr. Hyde potion and turns into a monster. That's sort of what Kyle MacLachlan looked like to me. I mean, he was incredibly campy and funny, but just his look there was a bit too much, in my opinion. So, who else? Oh, Gemma Simmons had an interesting transformation in the beginning of the show. She was kind of the sweet, warm, nurturing one, while Fitz was kind of annoying and, not a very sociable guy. Now it was sort of the opposite, that now that Fitz had been taken down to earth after that brain injury, and then Gemma, after her time as this undercover Hydra agent, or working for Hydra undercover, she got a little harsh, a bit of a callous person, and when she is this close to, finishing Ward, when they are reluctantly teaming up with him, the Ward is like, "Gemma, how could you? What happened to you?" Even though he is this psychotic mass murderer, and also the new head of Hydra. Interesting how, Malcolm Merlyn in Arrow has become the new Ra's al Ghul, and Grant Ward in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has become the new director of Hydra. Interesting parallel. Gemma became much nicer, like she used to be, and then she's pulled into this gooey black thing that I almost thought was a symbiote, even though that Spider-Man reboot that's connected to MCU wasn't official yet. But what the hell was the deal with that stuff, that petrifying poison from the obelisk? ending up in those omega-3 capsules. Gee, is that could explain why omega-3 causes stomach ache so badly. I don't. There was a lot of stuff going on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. Kind of a bit too much. So many side plots and stuff that were going on all at the same time. Some good stuff too, of course, like Blair Underwood as May's ex-husband. You know, sort of revealing why she is the way she is, that she hardly ever smiles or laughs, even though she was a very happy-go-lucky person, apparently, until that incident turned her into the cavalry, which we got to see in flashbacks. Yeah, I don't know if I really wanted to see exactly what happened. I think it would have been better if that would have just been something they had told us about and not showed. I think that would have been a lot more effective if you ask me, but it's kind of interesting to see how to see the book endings of that, at least May before the incident and May after, how she was acting around her husband, going from happy to serious and very sad. Yeah. Oh, and Coulson losing one hand when he's saving everybody from the obelisk. How come I keep forgetting what it's called? And when he's sort of sighing of relief while his hand is kind of turned to transform into stone, and then Mac chops his hand off with an axe, like, yeah, you're welcome. And I have a feeling a lot more stuff is gonna happen in season 3. It's gonna be really difficult to keep up with that one, since I am mainly following Flash and Arrow right now. Gotten into Gotham a little bit. Doctor Who, of course, something I can't miss. But yeah, I'll get back to you some other time. Ciao.